Hello and welcome back. Today I am taking a look at a Pilot Custom 823, which a friend was kind enough to lend to me. I must admit, my first impression was,
Wow.
This feels like a substantial pen. A serious pen. The kind of pen you'd imagine a senior executive using. I don't have a classic cigar-shaped pen in this price range, which is part of the reason I wanted to try this pen. I'll go through my thoughts on the pen and also do a writing sample. Please leave a comment on any other suggestions for pens in this same price range. I'm definitely in the market for one. Starting with what I like, the design is beautiful. I love cigar-shaped pens. The weight and size in your hand is really nice, it feels premium. I also admire the colour, that semi-transparent amber with gold trim. It's understated and elegant. The weight is partly due to the metal plunger inside, which controls the vacuum filler. There aren't too many vac fillers on the market, but I'll get to that later on. When posted, I find the pen a bit large for me. I think unposted is the perfect length. Also, when posted, the pen becomes a bit too top heavy when writing. I generally never post pens, so this isn't an issue for me. I find the nib to be a perfect size for the pen's proportions. Pilot have their own sizing, but it is very close to a number 6 nib. The 823 has a 14 karat gold nib, in this case being a medium. In Pilot sizing, this is a number 15 nib. Here it is compared to my TWSBI Eco, Kaweco Supra, and Lamy All-Star. The filling system on this pen is probably what makes it stand out the most. The amount of ink the 823 holds is huge. A full barrel holds around 2.5 ml. Filling with the vacuum system requires unscrewing the finial and then pulling the plunger all the way out. Once expanded, you dip the nib into the ink and smoothly push the plunger down back into the pen. Once it gets towards being completely depressed, the seal will open and ink is dragged into the barrel. It's a very satisfying process. This system used to be found on vintage Schaeffers. Although this might be the pen's main selling point, it is also what puts me off the most. Firstly, the pen is nearly impossible to clean. I've flushed it with water many times to try and clean it out, but ink residue always remained. Also, constantly expanding and depressing the plunger made me feel like I was causing a lot of unnecessary wear and tear on the vacuum system. Continued flushing can cause the greasing to wear down, making it harder to depress the plunger each time. I believe the 823 works best as a work pen, something you will constantly fill with the same blue or black without needing to clean it out. The large capacity means fills will be few and far between. That way you can enjoy the beautiful nib on this pen and not have to worry about the vacuum system as much. I've heard this filling system is also safe to take on flights, as it has a shut-off valve and therefore won't leak due to the pressure. This is great, seeing the amount of ink can easily last long business trips. Now for a writing sample. My favourite thing about this pen is definitely how this nib writes. How smooth that 14 karat gold nib is. I was actually expecting this medium to be even finer than what it turned out to be, but I really like this line size. I've filled the 823 with Noodler's Black Swan in Australian Roses, and as always, I am writing on Tomoe River paper. I didn't find the nib as soft as expected for a gold nib. It seems fairly stiff, but I actually really enjoyed this about it. It is very consistent, with no skipping or hard starts. Dotting I's and crossing T's just felt so satisfying with this pen. This is something pens in my collection seem to lack. Maybe that's a combination of this being a more premium and luxurious pen. It just has that little something extra, which makes it a joy to write with. I really want to try a Sailor 1911 and a Platinum 3776 to compare them all. I'm not 100% convinced on spending the money for this pen right now, as there are others in this category I would love to try first. However, the positives of this pen do outweigh the negatives. The design and nib alone make me want to have one in my collection at some stage. What are your thoughts on the Pilot Custom 823? Is it worth it? Is it better than other similar cigar-shaped pens? Any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching, and goodbye.